even though it's supposed to be a snow game. As if we can go out there with a lot of confidence and play the way that we know we can play, then there's no reason that we can't.
All right, hey, sorry everybody if you just joined us. Looks like we had a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll just sort of recap what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about the Broncos got a huge game tomorrow. Kansas City Chiefs coming to town. Talked about the Broncos beat the Jets, almost lost that one. A bad New York Jets football team, and you got to admit that.
Yeah.
You can't say that. Now the Patriots will disagree a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the no practicing did affect them, but the Broncos found a way to win.
Yeah.
And you know that's one thing that I've been saying about this team is they need to find ways to win. They're a young team. They need to be able to go out, you know, and make some make the adjustments or whatever they need to do, and find ways to win. And they did it. I mean, it was ugly.
Yeah.
Very ugly. I mean, 6 field goals.
Right.
I mean,
no offensive production.
No,
really.
In the red zone, horrible.
Yeah.
And that's something we need to fix. Dropped passes, poor execution. So, a couple of plays, you know, everybody's on Drew Lock. He's not the guy. He threw 2 interceptions, you know. Well, the first one, I think, was probably a miscommunication, and it happens.
Right.
It happens to the best of the quarterbacks. I mean, Tom Brady's had miscommunications with his receivers and thrown interceptions, you know.
Sheriff here in Denver
and that was supposed to be an over-the-shoulder, you know, or back-shoulder throw, and it looked like Tim Patrick, you know, just thought he was going to run a go route.
Right.
And so there was some confusion on that one. The other one, I don't know. I mean, there's, 3 minutes and some change left in the game. You got 1st and 10. Why are you throwing that ball down the field like that?
Well, I know why they were throwing the ball downfield like that. They were trying to stay aggressive, which you can't blame them for that. You know, they want to win the football game. They're in a position where they could, as long as they're moving the chains. But there's ways to be efficient and aggressive.
But I understand that. I understand that. But high percentage passes.
Right. That's what
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. So.
But as long as you're moving the chains, it shouldn't matter where you're getting your yards. You don't have to get it all in one take, you know.
Right.
As long as you're moving the ball 10, 12 yards down the field, you could still stay aggressive, and you could be aggressive running the football.
Right.
I don't understand why we weren't handing the ball off to Philip Lindsay, who finished with
104 yards.
104 yards.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, why on 1st and 10 are you calling that call?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why is Schumer calling that call and saying, hey, let's take a deep shot, you know? And then Drew Lock made a bad decision and threw it into double coverage.
Right.
You know?
Well, and another thing I want to talk about, speaking of, I just mentioned Philip Lindsay. What is it going to take for this team to give this dude a real opportunity to be their number 1 running back?
Yeah,
what does he got to do? What does he have to do?
Well, I mean, I think what he did against the Patriots is a good start.
Yeah.
He went out there and he proved to them that he can carry this team.
Well, but he's been proving that.
Well,
I think his first 2 seasons.
Dude, I know he has, and you're always trying to make your team better.
Yeah. You
see somebody like Melvin Gordon, and sometimes it looks really pretty from the outside, and you get excited and you say, let's get this guy, So they go after him, they pick up, Melvin Gordon. They're paying the dude $8 million a year.
Right.
You're not going to sit him on the bench.
No.
So unfortunately right then, Lindsey Phillips is relegated to, now I'm your 2nd string guy.
Right. Well, in that particular instance, it's no longer a football choice. It's a business choice.
It is. It is. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, you buy a Ferrari.
Right.
You don't buy it to
sit in your garage.
Right. You're going to take it out and you're going to go show it off.
Right.
But then Lindsey Phillips turns around and he gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Turf toe, which takes a while to recover from it, and so him being out, a couple with him, Melvin Gordon was starting to catch on. He was starting to get into a groove. That last game against the Jets, he busted that long run right there at the end. And
it seems like he's finally
he had a good
familiar with the, with the offense
Right.
that he has this year, it seems like he's really kind of settling in. And man, that New England game was, like you said, the
Right.
perfect start for him to come back. Because
It was. I mean, and Lindsey Phillips took advantage of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he took advantage. Melvin Gordon goes out, knucklehead a thing. You're making $8 million a year. Why are you driving when you've been out drinking?
right, call
Why?
an Uber,
Right.
get a taxi,
Dude,
ride the
hire
bus.
somebody to chauffeur you around.
Right.
If you want to be Mr. Big Shot,
Right.
So you go out, you get in trouble, you're busted because you're driving 35 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Yeah.
And and then he comes down with strep throat.
Mm-hmm.
So Lindsey Phillips, and Lindsey Phillips took advantage of the moment.
Philip Lindsay.
Philip Lindsay, I'm sorry. Philip Lindsay took advantage.
It's been a long day, I know, I get
Yeah.
it. So,
Philip Lindsay took advantage of the moment.
Mhm.
He played great, ran the ball hard. I mean, he's not afraid to run between the tackles.
no, and it was apparent on Sunday last week that he wasn't afraid to do that because he was going at some of their biggest guys, just not even worried about the size
Right.
difference or anything like that, just trying to get as many yards as he can, and that's what I like to see from him, I like to see that nitty-gritty, even though he's a smaller guy, he doesn't care, he'll just go at
No.
you with a full
And
head of
he
steam.
doesn't. That's why they call him the pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, he just gets in there and he's gonna tussle with the big dogs, and
Right.
he's not afraid.
Right.
So
So let's kind of move on from Philip Lindsay real quick, and let's go to what we're talking about this week, and let's talk about their pit bull on their side of the field, and that's Patrick Mahomes. My next question to you is, what do we got to do on defense? What is our number one priority this week
number one priority this week,
to stop Patrick Mahomes?
and you're not going to stop Patrick
No.
Mahomes.
No.
So what we need to do, and this is something that Broncos have been horrible at for the last 5 years, is covering tight ends.
Right.
We cannot let Kelsey just run crazy, down the field,
Right.
wide open.
Yeah.
We got to figure out somebody to put on the guy and cover him and limit him. If he gets the ball, if he catches it for 4 or 5 yards, good. Bring him to the ground.
Right.
Don't let him catch and run. The guy will kill us. And then we need to make sure that we're not going to leave Omudier one-on-one situations with Tyreek Hill, if that's what the Chiefs try to scheme for.
Yeah.
And they're gonna.
Right. Well, and it's almost impossible not to leave someone one-on-one with Tyreek Hill because of the fact of they have so many weapons on
They
the
do.
field
I
at
mean-
any given time that it's almost guaranteed that they're going to go man-to-man. And I think that's how the Chiefs have won a lot of their games.
Yeah, and I'm sort of wondering how big of an impact the passing game is really going to have with the weather.
Right.
I mean, it's supposed to be less than 20 degrees out. It's going to be snowing. They're saying 6 to 8 inches here in the metro area.
Right.
So
By game time or?
Well, no, it's going to start snowing about 2 o'clock tonight.
Oh wow.
So, and I don't know how hard and stuff, and I don't know how much will have been accumulated by the time the game starts. But it's going to be a snow game.
Right.
It's going to be almost the same exact type game as when we went to Kansas City last year when Locke faced Kansas City for the first time.
Right.
And it didn't turn out good.
Right.
And a lot of times snow gives the offense the advantages because they know where they're going. You're running your routes, you know where your cut is,
Right.
So it's easier for you to know when you're going to cut, and the defense, they sometimes slip and stuff because they're trying to react.
Yeah.
So
Another thing that I think that defense has a little bit of an advantage in that particular option is that when the snow gets all over the ball and the offense has a hard time holding on to it, that's where we need to come up with those big plays. If the ball ends up on the ground, we have to get to it. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. One, we need Drew Lock to have no turnovers this game or our whole offense as a whole. We need to limit the turnover differential, and if we can, find ways to get them to drop the ball on the ground, or we can intercept it. Whatever we need to do to force a turnover, because that's how you're going to win football games with this team. Our offense is not clicking the way we want it to yet, but our defense seems like it's going pretty good. definitely been playing as a whole unit on the defensive side of the ball, and I just think that that's going to be our major key.
That is a good thing. Our defense is
carrying our team.
It is. I mean, it's carrying our team. Our offense is still struggling. We haven't found ways to get the ball into the end zone consistently.
Right.
So it's nice to see our defense, especially with some of the injuries we've had.
Right.
Losing Von Miller for the year. Bouyer's out. We've just been beat up. I mean, Denver's been caught by the injury bug bad this year. But that defense, and I like how in the Patriots game, Fangio got aggressive with the blitz towards the end. But be careful when you do that with Mahomes.
Yep, you do. Well, because when you blitz, there's designated lanes that you're going up the field towards him in. And if you get outside those lanes, if the offensive line somehow pushes you outside those lanes, that makes wider running lanes.
It makes bigger running lanes for him.
And passing lanes.
It opens up the passing lanes so he doesn't have the traffic in front of him. You're right.
Right.
And it puts people in one-on-one situations. When you're bringing extra rushers, then you're bringing extra guys. So now you got guys that normally you wouldn't want in a one-on-one.
Right.
They're going to be in a one-on-one. So we need to be smart with how we use the blitz. Mahomes is too smart.
Right.
He's going to pick up your pre-read. So you're going to have to really disguise these blitzes,
Right.
and use a lot of different schemes and stuff to get people in there and put pressure on them. I love Shelby Harris. Shelby Harris has been, hey, if you can't get to the ball, and it's always, these linemen are always taught, you can't get to the ball, you can't get to the quarterback, jump up, put your hands up, knock the ball down. That's just as good as a sack almost.
Right.
Well,
and in that instant, when you're making that play, when you're swatting that ball down, I think that kind of ruins the momentum of the drive no matter what, nobody likes to have a ball batted down, and especially in the quarterback's eyes, it kind of seems like a wasted play, So I like what Shelby Harris did last week. Do I think he has the same opportunity to do that again? I do, but at the same time, I think that this offensive line is a little better suited than the New England Patriots was, and at the end of the day, I think that Shelby Harris, Bradley Chubb, basically anyone who's going to be working in that defensive rotation on the line, they have to come with their A game,
right?
And if we can, because Mahomes doesn't get sacked very often because he's a good quarterback, and he's a good quarterback. Two, he's pretty mobile. He's one of the fastest guys on the field for his team, minus Tyreek Hill because that dude's insane. But anyway, I think that we just have to kind of, if we can get a couple sacks, if we can disrupt the flow of the Kansas City offense, because it's been done this season.
The Raiders did it.
When the Raiders went and played them, when Kansas City came to Vegas, and they played each other, that's what Oakland did. They disrupted Mahomes. They made him upset. They didn't ever give him anything easy, and for some reason that day, Derek Carr was on fire.
Well, and that's another thing. We have to put the ball in the end zone. We have to put pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, yeah, there's no way you can go or they can come here to Denver and you can expect to put up 18 points and
win.
Yeah,
right.
Especially against Kansas City because they're the highest scoring offense of the last year.
So. And McManus has been on fire, but I'm telling you what, kicking in tomorrow's conditions is not going to be as easy.
Right.
So it's going to be tougher to get those field goals, especially if they're longer ones. When we get into the red zone, we need to take advantage of it. Noah Fant will be back in the game. We've missed him. Hamler's going to be back in. We missed him too. Hopefully Hamilton just gets sacked because Hamilton does nothing for this team. I think the guy has 3 catches all season.
Yeah.
So Deshaun Hamilton has had his chances, and he has not taken advantage of them. Hamler's out. He should have taken advantage of those extra reps. What I'm saying now, kick Deshaun to the curb, You got to use Judy. You got to get him in some one-on-ones on the outside and let him outrun people.
Mm-hmm.
Either that, or you get him on some crossing patterns,
Right.
let him catch it, and get some yards after the catch.
Well, and that's the thing that a lot of people forget about this Denver offense is that we have a lot of talent, but we're just super young. You know,
Yeah, we are.
and it's going to take some time for all these younger guys, especially Judy, just coming into a brand new system, brand new pro system, never been in one before.
Right.
You know, and then you got people, you know, KJ Hamler, he's one of the guys too that's just coming in, doesn't know a lick of anything in the NFL.
Right.
And then you got other people like Tim Patrick who've been around a couple years, you know.
And Tim Patrick's coming into his own.
Yeah.
He's made some good catches, you know. We had that one, that pick where they picked it off, you know, where there was a miscommunication. We don't know if it was Patrick's fault. We don't know if it's Drew Lock's fault. You know, that's the thing. You don't know whose fault.
Well, and that's Exhibit A of what I was just talking about. You know, the gel just isn't there.
Right, the chemistry. Well, you got to remember, it's Locke's first game back as well. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, Locke just is coming back, so he's a little rusty.
Right.
You know, so let's see how we progress this week.
Right.
Let's see if we can get the ball in there. I know people hate moral victories, you know.
Right. And I'm
If
not.
we
And I'm not
don't
a
beat
fan.
Kansas City,
Right.
at least let's make it close.
Right.
Where we have a chance in the fourth quarter where we could win a football game.
Right. Well, and the thing is, man, if you're telling me that the last possession of the game is against the Chiefs and we got to stop them on defense, and the Broncos let them go down and drive the field, and they kick a field goal for 3 points and they win the game, I'm okay with that because at least it's competitive. At least we're holding our own, and at least we can go out there and say that we gave it everything that we had, and we're close.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But if we go out there and we just get embarrassed
Yeah.
tomorrow in a snow game, then it just shows you that, you know, I'm not saying that necessarily Drew Lock isn't our guy. I don't want to go there because I think that.
No, I don't want to either. The guy's played.
I think long term, he's our guy.
How many games has he played?
Not even a full season yet.
No,
Like 8.
he played 5 last year. He played 1.5 at the beginning, and then he just played another one. So the guy's played 3.5 games.
Right.
I mean, 8.5 games.
Yeah.
You give rookies more time than that.
Right.
So everybody relax.
Yeah.
Let Locke develop. He's on his second offense in 2 years.
Right.
You know, so let him learn, let him develop.
Yep.
He's faced some unfortunate injuries. You know, I think he grew up a little bit, and he learned while he was out that I cannot take these hits. I have to get rid of the ball, or I have to get upfield and run, or do something. You know, but he can't take these unnecessary hits all the time.
Yeah.
So-
Like that one towards the end of the third quarter, I believe, where he was running towards the edge of the touchdown and he just went flying out of bounds and
Yeah.
got smacked by I think it was a safety or a corner. Man, he can't. He's young.
Right.
But he doesn't know that those kind of hits are the
Yeah.
kind of hits that end careers.
And they're
you
going
know?
to take the toll on you,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
So,
We just need. I think as a whole, we just need to see growth.
we really need to establish the run game, though. We
Yeah.
need to show these guys we can run the ball against them. I don't care if it's a combination of Lindsey and Melvin Gordon.
Right.
I don't care. You know, even bring Freeman in. Freeman has even, stepped it up this year. You know, I was of the mind that the dude could just be gone because he really hadn't done much in his previous 2 years.
Right.
But he's really, stepped it up, and I think that he needs to be a part of your thing too, especially when you need some short yards. He's a bruiser, put him in there and let him just pound it,
Yeah.
And, we get the ball down on the 1 yard line again. Let's not try to get fancy and throw passes.
Right.
Let's pound the ball into the end zone.
Well, and that's what I don't understand too is why are we so afraid to run the ball? You know.
It's like we get inside the 5 yard line, we're afraid to run the ball.
Right. And
Yeah.
and at that point it becomes completely predictable what you're about to do.
Yeah.
Because with the shorter field, there's only a handful of routes that you can run. There's only so many things that you can do inside that 10-yard span. Wherever
Oh,
you're
yeah.
at, or 20-yard span, wherever you're at inside the red zone. There's only so much you can do. So at the end of the day, if you're not running the football in the red zone, you're not succeeding.
Well,
in the red zone.
and here's part of the problem too. I mean, our receiving core is young. A lot of them just are out of college.
Right.
You get one, you're not playing the best of the best.
Right.
college, you're a superstar. Someone like Judy. The guy's just a stud in college,
Right.
because he's so much more gifted than most of the people on the field,
Right.
But now you're in the NFL.
Where everybody's good.
Everybody's good. They're here for a reason.
Right.
You get inside the 20-yard line, the field shrinks. There's less area for defenders now that they have to cover.
Right.
So the thing is, our receivers need to learn how to create separation. And I'm not seeing that. And when the ball is thrown to you, catch the dang ball.
Right. Well, and that's the whole chemistry thing there too, because Locke's got to have faith in these guys like Judy and Hamler to create that separation. Because it's not always going to be plain as day. You're not going to see someone flash across the middle wide open every time. Sometimes you're going to have tight windows. You're going to have to throw that ball on a dime. And if you don't, it's going to get picked off or incomplete, something.
Right.
So that whole chemistry thing comes into tie with almost everything that our offense needs to do. And I think that once we get a few games under our belt, together as a whole unit, even though we're going to be missing Cortland Sutton, obviously, and like a few other name players, I think that if we can come together as a team, I'm not saying that we're Super Bowl contenders by any means, but I do think that we could beat the Chiefs. And I do think that we could possibly find ourselves in an AFC wildcard spot.
But and it may, and I'm not going to jump ahead. I mean,
Right.
We still have a lot left to prove on this team. We beat a very bad Jets team, and we beat a Patriots team that
Don't bring up the practice.
I won't bring up the practice thing. We beat a Patriots team without putting the ball into the end zone.
But we waited an extra week to watch that game.
Cam Newton
Cam Newton could play.
Newton has proved he cannot throw the ball.
Not under pressure.
No, he cannot, and Denver put the pressure to him, Mahomes is going to be different, and we got to play him differently. So special teams tomorrow, I think are going to be a big part of the game. We lost Spencer, so what do? Do we throw Hamler back there and see how he can do?
I say we throw Judy back there.
Well, Judy's never really been much of a punt returner and kick returner, though. So
he's got speed. That's really,
it doesn't matter if you have speed. If you don't know how to field punts, it's not easy.
Right.
Well,
I'm not saying we have to do it this week, but I'd like to see him eventually, make his way back there.
And that may be something that he's just not even comfortable with, But Hamler, let's put him back there. Give him a try. He's done it. He did it in college. So let's give him a shot, see how he does, and see if he can. That guy's fast. He's probably one of the fastest guys on the team.
Right.
You want to get him the ball and let him create. And let's get him out there, especially in the snow.
Right.
Let him start making some moves and people slipping and see what he can do.
Right.
Make
this dude in the ESPN highlight.
That's right. So, and I don't think we can put ourselves in situations where we're going to have to kick long field goals.
Right.
Now, so we need to get the ball in close. If we have to settle for a field goal, we don't want to. Let's try to get at least 50% touchdowns. Let's start with baby steps or something, and try to go 50% in the red zone instead of 0.
And that's kind of leading into my next question for you is, with how young and inexperienced our team on offense is, and even on defense, but mainly the offense, what does Drew Lock have to do? Like, what does his stat line have to look like? So, if we're going to win this football game.
I think last week he completed 42% of his passes. He has to be between 55 and 60% there.
Right.
So
almost at least 10% better.
I like that we're getting aggressive and we're going downfield, but let's be smart about it, and we need to convert these high percentage passes, get Locke into a groove, build some chemistry with some guys. Let's just move the ball down the field, keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. But I think, going back to your question, Drew Lock has to throw 55 to 60% complete of his percent of his passes need to be complete
Or
higher.
How many touchdowns?
You know, I don't think he has to have a high amount of touchdowns. I mean, if he has one or two, that's good. But as long as we get down there and we can find a way to score, jet sweeps, just running the ball,
right?
Quarterback, bootlegs and stuff. He's fast. He's athletic. I'm not gonna say super fast, but he's athletic. He can run the ball,
There was speaking of that, there was a particular time in last week's game against New England where I saw the best opportunity to run a quarterback draw right up the middle. We were on like something like the 7-yard line or something like that, and this is obviously one of the times that we didn't get in,
right?
Because we didn't get in the whole game. But you just see him drop back, and the whole middle of the field is wide open, and there's just a lane, begging to be ran down.
And you figure the last 2 times he's been hurt. He got hurt in the preseason, on his rookie season. He got hurt during the preseason.
Right.
And then this year he got hurt. Both times he was rolling out. He was scrambling and he was running.
Right.
They may have told him, stand in the pocket, stay in the pocket,
Yeah.
and go through your progressions, and things like that. And that just wasn't playing. Maybe Locke's a little gun shy. His first game back, doesn't want to get hurt again.
Right.
You know?
Well, and maybe as the weeks continue, we see him be a little more aggressive with his legs, turn into more like a Patrick Mahomes-esque, a creator outside of the pocket. But how devastating would it have been if his first game back he goes out with another injury?
Right.
So I understand why they did it last week, and I would understand why they would keep doing it because they say he's ready to go, he's medically cleared.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, medically cleared means you could be walking out there with a hurt shoulder.
Right.
Yeah. So we don't really know the full extent of his
injury.
And we don't even know if he's.
You get injured sometimes. It's in the back of your head. And you think about it, and you're like, I don't want to put myself in that situation again, so I'm going to stay in here, and I'm going to, I'm supposed to throw the ball. I'm going to Now, if they call a quarterback draw, then you do it.
Right.
So, but I think so 55 to 60% of his passes need to be complete. 1 to 2 touchdowns. We can't have costly interceptions.
Do you think,
if he throws an interception, and if we're throwing the ball 40 yards down the field and it's intercepted, that's almost like a punt.
Yeah.
And that's not going to kill you.
Right.
But we cannot give up the ball deep in our own territory and give Kansas City, short fields.
Right.
They're going to kill you.
Yeah.
We need to keep Kansas City. We need to keep them off balance. We need to keep their defense second guessing.
Yeah.
We need to throw some wrinkles in there that they haven't seen yet. And let's see what we can do.
Well, and I'll tell you what everyone was talking about last week. Was this a Vic Fangio signature win? No, I don't think so.
I don't think it was. I mean, the Patriots are not who the Patriots used to be for one.
Well, I mean, they're always going to be something with Bill Belichick as
right,
the ringleader, whatever it may be. But
Cam Newton is no Tom Brady.
Right, never has been, never will be.
Right,
and it looks like they're falling off some talent that they've lost.
They are. Edelman. You can see Edelman is not as productive as he used to be.
Well, he lost one of his best friends.
Well, he did. He lost Tom. Probably still cries sometimes.
Right, probably cries himself to sleep every night.
Yeah.
But I just think that if we do go into Kansas City, if Kansas City comes here tomorrow and we end up shocking the NFL and we get a win,
that's a signature win.
That's a signature win, especially if we do it at the realms of the defense. If the defense comes out and they have a great game like they did last week against a real team.
Yeah, and so I think we need to go back to our defense because one thing we didn't even touch on, we just touched on Mahomes and stopping the pass. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy
is a beast. Yeah.
This is probably the first game in his life, though, that he's ever played in snow.
Yeah.
So we're going to see. I mean, he's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, went to LSU, probably never played in snow in his life,
So how are you going to feel, because I know you're an LSU fan, how are you going to feel if he goes off for 130 yards, beats the Denver Broncos?
I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah. Even though it's your boy?
My boy or not, I mean, I'm a Bronco fan.
Yeah.
I'm a Bronco fan before I'm an LSU fan.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I will always support the Broncos. And, you know, we need to shut him down.
Right.
I don't want to say, well, let's let him get his yards and his touchdowns, but we still win.
Right.
You know, that's why I quit playing fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy football sometimes makes you root against your own team.
Yeah.
You know? Because you got 3 dudes on the other team that you're playing.
Well,
you're like, well, we can win. Let's win like 48-45.
Yeah.
So they can get a lot of points, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, come on, man.
Well, and fantasy football fans are interesting because, like you said, they root for they'll say that their team's like the Minnesota Vikings, but then they got 3 other people on the Green Bay Packers.
Right,
and
then Vikings and Packers are playing, and you're cheering for dudes on the Packers team
right.
who are playing your team.
You might as well be a Packers fan
right.
at that point. You know,
right.
like I mean, because there's no way in hell you could catch me rooting for anybody in the AFC West. The Chargers, the Raiders,
right.
the Chiefs. I'm never going to be about.
Well, I'm going to just admit this. I cheered for the Raiders when they beat the Chiefs.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, so instances like that.
Right.
Because for me, I'm a Raider hater. I hate them. I don't like them. Never have been. I've never been a fan of the organization. So at the end of the day, I was rooting for the Chiefs to beat the Raiders that game, just because I know that at this point in the Broncos time frame, they're not a championship contender. We're not going to go to the Super Bowl. And for all you fans out there that are watching that think, oh, the Broncos are Super Bowl contenders, and if you don't think so, then you're not a real fan. Yeah, why don't you chill on that, because I'm a real fan. I've been a real fan since I was little, and I just got to tell you that the Broncos aren't going to the Super Bowl. So
no, they're not. I mean, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to interact with our audience, see if anybody out there has any questions. I don't even know if anybody's out there watching, but we'll find out. Anybody got any questions, let us know your thoughts on the game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, though, we got to contain that guy.
yeah,
The guy he's tough as nails, but it'll be interesting to see him play in the snow and see how he does. So, see what else we got.
just to let you know, the Chiefs are just a 7.5 point
Favorite
in the game. So it looks like
7.5 points on the road, though, is good. I mean, that's almost like that. You usually get 3 points just for being the home team.
Right.
So they're saying, okay, Kansas City's really 10.5, 11 points better than the Broncos.
Right.
Which you can't
You
can't argue with their logic right now until we go out there and we prove that we can play with Kansas City and we can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 9 games straight, I think, that we have not beat these guys.
Right.
We need to stop this
On Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to stop it. So, man.
It's just a lot going on here in Denver, I mean, we got to figure it out,
Yeah.
With injuries, and, I think that as long as we can survive this storm, this next 4 to 5 game stretch.
Yeah. And I'm telling you what, everybody out there who's on this, let's just tank it and draft Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Why are we going to keep going down this damn quarterback carousel? Stop with Aaron Rodgers is going to come play here.
Right.
Stop with, we should go get Dak now because the Cowboys aren't going to sign. Stop, everybody. We're going to put our eggs in the basket with Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
We need to see what this guy has. Now, if in 2 years or after next season we see he doesn't have, then we go out and we draft somebody. But we got to stop this madness sometimes.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on something that isn't bleeding.
Right. And Elway needs to stop with the, I'm going to go chase, the sexy quarterback and bring him in and try to win another Super Bowl.
Right.
All we're doing is damaging the team when we do that for the long run.
Yeah.
We're setting the team back another.
And was it cool having Peyton here? Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. And I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it. I did.
Right.
But we had no plan for the follow on.
Right.
Well, we did. We thought.
Well, yeah. But
first it was supposed to be Brock.
And then it was Paxton.
Then it was Paxton, and
then 5 other quarterbacks.
Right. And it's just been insanity. So, we need to just let's stick with Drew Lock.
Yeah. Give him a real shot at this. And like you said, if at the end of this season or next season, whichever one you may decide, and if you think that he for sure isn't the man, that you don't think he has it, that he can't play in the NFL, then so be it.
Right.
You know, move on.
Right.
There's going to be other quarterbacks, and yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a great player for whoever he goes to play for.
Right.
But at the end of the day, do you really want to just throw away a season for one guy who you're not? He's not nobody. And I'll say this again: nobody. I don't care who you are. If you're Patrick Mahomes, if you're Trevor Lawrence, nobody is a surefire thing coming out of college.
No, you're not.
You know.
Look at Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Look at Rosen.
And then
Josh Rosen.
I'm going a couple years back, but look at Dante Culpepper. Dude came out of college, didn't do anything.
Well, he was decent with the Eagles for a while.
Yeah.
You know, but there's guys all the time that come out.
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, there's the biggest example right there.
Yeah.
Number 1 pick out of LSU, and who knows what the dude's doing now. But I'm telling you, guys come out of college, sometimes they just can't handle the speed of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different game,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And
sometimes that talent in college just doesn't translate to the NFL.
and it doesn't. No, you know, Trevor Lawrence may not translate.
Right.
You know, who knows?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my soapbox. I'll get off it.
No, that's all good, man. I
So-
mean, that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about football. So before we get on out of here, because I think it's about time to wrap this
Yep.
up. Let me get a score prediction.
You're gonna put me on the spot first, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't think I've picked the Broncos once this year, have I?
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
I even picked the Jets to beat the Broncos.
I know you did.
You know, and it looked like it for a while they were gonna. Especially when Sam Darnold ran that long touchdown.
Juked all our whole defense
Yeah.
going 2.5 miles an hour.
You know, I mean, I like that people are excited about the Denver Broncos right now, and they won 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Because it's been
a while since we had a winning streak.
Yeah,
here in Denver,
and-
so.
you know, Kansas City, they're on a whole different level, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I'm a firm believer that they could go back and win the Super Bowl again this year because their team has done nothing but improve.
Right.
And their defense is getting
and
better.
they just signed Le'Veon Bell.
Right. It's unfair.
It's like, come on.
I tell a bunch of my friends all the time that the Kansas City Chiefs are like the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. You know, because they just have so much talent.
And you remember, that's how the Patriots were for a while. Everybody wanted to go play for the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Then Peyton Manning came here. Everybody wanted to come play here.
Right.
Now everybody wants to go to Kansas City and play with Patrick
Right.
Mahomes.
Well, what do you
But
expect?
you blame them,
They got
you
a
know?
brand new, fresh-legged, flashy quarterback.
And before I make my pick, but speaking of that, is Tampa Bay, are they insane?
Oh, getting Antonio Brown.
The dude's gonna blow up, man.
Yeah.
The dude's a ticking time bomb.
I know.
I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of this because it's a serious situation. I think the guy has some mental issues that he needs to deal with.
Yeah.
And maybe he has. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I hope he does come back and he succeeds.
Right.
You know,
Not too much.
because
though.
it's sad to watch a human being do that. You know.
Yeah.
And just some of the things that he was doing, in my opinion, were screams for help.
Yeah.
You know, of hey, somebody help me, but. They don't do that in the NFL. They just toss you to the side. You
Well,
know?
it's a business. At the
It
end
is
of
a
the day.
business,
They don't
you
care
know?
about the person.
But anyway, back to my pick.
Mm-hmm. Getting on your soapbox.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna pick Kansas City 31 and the Broncos 13. I don't think it's gonna be close.
Wow.
Their defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is just, and everyone out there, I hope I'm totally wrong.
Right.
I hope the Broncos just come out and shock the freaking world tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, but man, until we prove that we can go out there and play with these big teams and we can put the ball in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't put the ball in the end zone with Kansas City, Kansas City's going to score touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when they score touchdowns and they get up by 14 or 17 points? We start pressing.
Right.
We start making mistakes, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go ahead and say 31-13 Kansas City. But I will, before I go to bed tonight, I will say a prayer that I hope the Broncos do beat the damn Kansas City Chiefs, because I cannot stand the Kansas City Chiefs and their announcer who says, "Touchdown, Kansas City!"
Oh man, you have a real fire for these.
F you, Kansas City.
Well, you heard it first here. F you, Kansas City. All right. Well, I mean, I can respect that. I guess I can respect that. So I'm gonna go with a little bit closer win for Kansas City. I think they'll pull it out, but I think it'll be a close game. I think they're gonna be 28-31.
28-31 Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
All
Even
right.
in the snow.
So
I think
we
the
both-
snow is going to be the biggest factor for the Kansas City.
And I hope so. And I really hope the Broncos can take advantage and put the ball in the end zone and make this a close game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and who knows? And if they do, maybe they do shock him at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
Hey, winning streaks have to stop sometimes.
Right.
Losing streaks have to stop sometimes as
Right.
well too.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's perfect time. Let's go out, Broncos. You know, everybody, be safe tomorrow. It's going to be a little messy around the metro area.
Yeah, and if you if you have the opportunity to go to the game, whoever's watching, I know it's limited people in it, and that's fine.
Dress warm.
Yeah, dress warm and
And
be
do
safe.
me a favor. Do not sell your ticket to a damn Kansas City fan. If I see one Kansas City fan in that stadium, woo.
I'm gonna be heated.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I'll be heated. All right. So everybody, you all have a good night. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I may pop back on tomorrow night, do a post game by myself, depending on how I feel after the game.
Nice.
If not, you know, we'll catch you next Sunday for another pregame show of the Broncos. And
Who do they even play next week?
I don't know, the schedule's got so jangled up. I think
Is it because it's not Miami next week, is it?
I don't think so. Let me check really quick.
No, I think we have 2 divisions.
We're looking really high quality.
Right.
Here,
Sorry,
so.
guys, we didn't come prepared today, but sorry, we were just.
I'm not sure, you know, and I'm not gonna sit here and bore these guys while we wait and figure out who we're gonna be playing next. So
Oh, after this week it's the Chargers. So next week we'll have a pregame about Broncos versus Chargers.
Okay.
And
9 a.m.
sure.
9 a.m. Mountain Time every Sunday. Grab your coffee. Today we did it because of the storm. Tomorrow, that way Alex doesn't have to make a trip over here. Plus he's on this side of town today anyway. But telling you, go out. You know, enjoy the game tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah.
Cheer on your Broncos. Let's hope for a victory.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I picked against them, doesn't mean I still love them, and I will be ecstatic if we beat Kansas City.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. I'm David,
I'm Alex.
and we are out of here.
Go Broncos. Nice. Dude, that was pretty good for now.